what are the powertrain? So as we need to understand, once the engine to start, okay, so the engine is started and the powertrain plays a major role. The powertrain is the one which makes you car to drive, make a movement. So what is the powertrain combination? It combines with the engine, transmission, drive shaft, and axle and differential. So and the engine it makes the power, and the power the train sends the power to the wheels. It is made up of clutch, generally on the cars with the manual transmission, and the transmission of the gears that help to the engine to turn more to move the cars, and even the drive shaft it will differential and the gear wheels. So these are some part of the powertrain components. So the powertrain it is a it have a combination of with engine. As we know, the engine it have a whether a diesel or petrol. Usually, it have the stoke engines like four stokes. It will be intake or exhaust or combustion. Anything can happen on engine. So whenever the power is generated from the engine, the wheel, the power should be given because to make wheels to rotate. How these wheels are started rotating because of the uh, transmission of the force. It will be happen. How this force is happen without the force, the car. Is via the transmission. Transmission we have a two types: automatic transmission, manual transmission. So depends upon the future of the functionality of the car. So that this transmission will be divided. So how it will? What is the main purpose of the transmission? Transmission is used to adjust the torque. Okay, so whatever the energy we are generating from the engine, so that is delivering to the wheels. So that should the torque should be adjusted. It is similar to the bicycle gears, so where we are transmitting the speed via the gear shifter. And transmission component directly it is attached to the engine for power conversion. So transmission just you need to say it will be a part of the adjusting of the speed. It is based upon the throttle input, that how it will be maintained and how this transmission is happened, how this system is maintained. So the system here, the power, the engine, as we know, the cylinders we have. So this will be transmitted. This will be a part of a transmission. We have to make the gear shift or changes. We are using the clutch. With the help of the clutch, like we are able to move the changes like gear one or gear two or gear three changes that can be happen. So like we have a gear option from the gear, the transmission we are power from the here we are shifting with the help of the gear and clutch. So the clutch is the one which will do the engage and disengage from the engine to the wheel. See, and gear is the one it will differentiate the speed. How this will be differentiated? So like here the engine is the one which makes the power supply to the wheels. The transmission you have the pedal and similar to the brake and acceleration pedals will be there. And from the uh, steering where you are able to operate the direction. So and you have the differential and you have a constant from the differential you are making the changes with respect to the gear shift. So how this differential system works, where you have a manual transmission, where your driver can shift the gear manually with the help of clutch control. It automatically based upon the speed and acceleration, automatically the transmission will be changed. What is a clutch? What is a clutch? It will do the engage and disengage the engine from the transmission. Whenever it is engaged, means it will be connected towards the engine. So that time the speed from the engine, when you press the clutch, the engage will be happen. Means it will be disconnected. So from the engine, you have a smooth transaction towards the gear. So once you apply change the gear, then you will remove the clutch. That it will be connected to the camshaft. That time the vehicle will start rotating. So engage is specifically you are applying the gear clutch. So disengage is just it will be once the clutch is applied, it will be disengaged. Means it will be splitted the engine and the plates will be here. That plate means the transmission plate will be splitted. Moreover, you are able to change the gear. So with the help of clutch and the drive shaft, so transfer the power from the transmission to the wheels. And differential is it will distribute the power, engine power to the wheels, and allows to rotate at different speed during the turns. How this suspension and steering will be controlled? So for vehicles, the steering and suspension is very essential when driving in a different road conditions. So the suspension makes the comfort of the driver and the vehicle, and sometimes the safety also plays major role due to the suspension. So the suspensions will be placed for all the wheels, and to control these suspensions, it requires some part of information. So the information will be provided by the electronic control unit. So it will be distributed accordingly, all the conditions. So how the suspension should be maintained? It will be the minimum. It should not activate every time the same suspension. It depends upon the road condition. It should be controlled. So that leveling sensors will be there, and some coiling springs will be there for each and every connection. And we have a total sensor ring and spring rate control and wheel speed sensors. So based upon that inputs, these are the inputs, the sensors which we are driving to control the suspension. So to control this suspension, the information is sent to the ECU. So the ECU will balance the suspension according to the road inputs. So the road inputs are the sensors which are making it. And how the sensor suspensions will be placed? So it will be the wheel housing components such as the ball joints or the tie rods, some of the suspension systems. And the suspension parts will be connected to the wheel, to the vehicle, to the wheels, and enable to the synchronize the movement, because the four wheels are connected to the same suspension, same components. So it should be maintained and it should be synced together. On the suspension system, it is crucial for maintaining the tire contact and the road and observing road irregularity, and it prevent the damages towards the vehicle, and moreover the cargo by against the bumps or some of the shock conditions. Various suspension systems designs have the different features, and for different vehicles it have different suspension mechanisms. So depends upon the vehicle and the driving conditions, so it will be maintained. And apart from that, like suspension and steering system, so the image it shows that the steering is the one which makes the vehicle to give in different directions. So here the front steering it have the front wheel control, where that will be maintained uh, in proper conditions. So and we have the rail. So rail is the one, we have rear wheels will be controlled via the rail output. So the steering should be maintained balanced equally for the front and rear conditions. So that's how during that the suspension also should be maintained the same. And steering system, how the steering system is worked? The steering system it have the front, it have the piston. So that piston makes the both wheels should be aligned at the same time and same direction. So this is the intermediate shaft, and the steering knuckle will be there, and it have the some suspensions and braking conditions also. So it should be maintained during the steering. So how this steering wheel really it allows the driver to control the direction of the car, and the steering column generally it will be connected to the steering wheel, to the steering mechanism. So rack and pinion and steering gearbox. So it will convert the steering wheel rotation into the lateral motion for turning the wheel. So from the image, you can see that it is a part of the intermediate shaft that makes to change the direction of the vehicle for the front wheel side. And axles is very efficient. So axle it will support the wheels for the front or rear, so it will support and hold the wheels for the cars. So where two axles provide the driver to the wheels on the road, the front axle it will be for the controlling of the steering and shock absorption during the suspension, And components for the front axle includes it read the civil pin, some track rod and stub axles, some of the and the beam. So just of the components. And rear axle, it will transmit power from differential to the moving wheels. So differentially, it connected it to off of the rear wheels known as a off shafts. Means it will be a part of differential where it will distribute the power to the back wheels. So these are the axles. And next is a part of the suspension. Next will be part of the radiator. Radiator generally cools the engine because, as you know, when we drive the vehicles for long run, that time the engine will be get heated up, and there is some chances that it can stop immediately, and excess is created. So, and the components or electric component or hardware components which are interconnected in the vehicle, it should not be heated up. It will create a damage and it would create a problem. So, to make cooling, so we required some cooling system. So for that we added some of the fans to cool. So it is a crucial component for the engine cooling. Generally it will be placed some of the cooling liquids as well and some of the fans, so that will it will regulate the engine temperature, and it will maintain the optimum condition. So for the long run or the performance wise, it will give efficiency, and moreover it will regulate the cool temperature, and it will efficiently for driving. And braking, so braking is a very important factor towards the vehicles. So generally for the components here, the braking, we need a brake pedal, brake pad. It is a part of a disc brake, and we have a drum brake. So we need to understand about two different variants of the brake condition. So disc brake is we have a disc cap, and wheel stabs will be there, and rotator or disc will be there. And to the disc to stop, we have a caliper and bead valves. So, and we have a brake pad and the slide pin. So these are the main components needed for the disc brake. And we have a drum brake. A drum brake, we have a brake shoe, brake plate, and anchor pin. So like in the inside components, and brake adjustment, and brake shoe, and wheel cylinder, and return spring. So these are some components about the drum brake. But whatever the brake we are able to control, so this can be controlled via some applying the input from the driver side. So once if the once the driver is applied, so there are some fluids that brake fluids will be there, and that will align into this system, and it able to stop the disc brake or drum brake. So there are some understanding to control the brake drum. If you, it will be both wheels are aligned with the same. Generally it goes to the it starts from the brake warning light. So the driver able to see that information, brake warning light on the display. And once the brake is activated, the brake fluid from the reservoir, it will take some it will come up with the liquid with the pressure, and that will be passed to the master cylinder, and it will be brake line, and they have the brake house. So generally that functionality of the pressure that will be created towards the master, it is a part of it. The master means the first initial phase, and it will be distributed to the disc or the drum brake and different condition. And next is a part of the components, how this braking system will be configured in case of hydraulic. So here we have a vacuum booster, and more we have a hydraulic will be aligned for this, and where the speed sensors will be placed here, and those sensors, and the ECU is connected, our microcontroller, hydraulic modulator, and some vacuum meter. With the help of that, the master cylinder with it have a proper information will be given, and you'll get a good suspension. So generally it will be a part of the ABS features. So it have the sensors and suspensions and safety relevant, and stopping of the wheel with accurate reason without any accidental. So it's very important for the braking system. How this brake system will help to recharge the batteries. So generally, the batteries will be recharged. So during the braking. So these are some disc brakes. So just it is mostly found in the modern cars. Used that is whenever you press the brakes, so that will be automatically stops the rotation of the wheel. And you have a drum brake. It is a older system used for brake shoe. It when you are pressed against as a drum. Anti-lock braking system (ABS). It is prevent the wheel from locking during the hard braking. Brake fluid. It transfers the force from the brake pedal to the braking component. So these are some examples about the different types of the brakes that needed for the braking system. What are the electrical systems that will be configured in the engine? So generally, like we have a battery, and where we have the electrical distributor. So and it will be given to the one part to the alternator, and from the alternator, like we have a voltage regulator, and from voltage regulator, like we are driving the positive and negative conditions. And next we have a battery. From the battery we have the fuse, and we have ignition key and starter. From the starter we are able to make rotate the engine. So these are some electrical components how that will be added as a part of the engine. So here the battery is playing major role, and the ignition key start or on start up thing. So this will be makes the vehicle to move. And what is the electrical system? Mainly the electrical system, it will be powered whatever the engine we are using. It's needed uh, to power on or off, where it required the, because as the vehicles it have a combination of lightning and seat control or some part of infotainment, any all the features, it requires some electrical power. So where the battery should be stored, that is the energy, smaller battery will be there, that is it will store the energy, and it will distribute the complete power to the complete system. So like the lighting related or some of the sunroof related or the motor components, so that will be distributed to the whole system. So battery will provide a power to the start the engine and run the electrical. That is the first part. Alternator it charges the battery and provide the electrical system when the engine is running. And starter motor, it cranks the engine to start. Lighting system, it includes lightning, tail light and indicator, and the interior light. And infotainment, where we can see the driver and the touch screen and audio screen and navigation. Because these are a part of the engine cars, not about the electric vehicle. So in engine cars, we have the battery. That battery utilizes has needed some power, so for lightning and infotainment and some of the other functions for entertainment activities or some GPS navigation, anything it needs some uh, power utility. So that will be recharged during the braking condition, and during the braking the battery will be charged here. How this fuel system works, as we know, like the fuel system, it have the engine. So the engine will take the power, fuel intake and exhaust the hour. So and next we have the braking. So whatever the information we have it, that information related to the software and hardware that configure in the ECU. That ECU will decide what is the fuel intake and what is the mixture you need to configure. So accordingly, that the valve will be opened for fuel intake, whether the high pressure condition or the low pressure condition. So it will be decided and it will be controlled automatically. And the fuel system plays major role for whenever the signal is sending receiving data from the ECU. So this will be displayed by the driver as well, where driver can see what is the information, how the vehicle is running, how the transformation is happening. So that is about the fuel system. Fuel system generally it requires fuel tank to store the fuel, and fuel pump. The fuel pump is to deliver the fuel from the tank to the engine. And next will be a part of a fuel injector, where it will spray the fuel to the combustion chamber for efficiency burning. And we have a carburetor, so it is used to the older cars to mix the air and fuel before entering the engine. So and next it is a part of the engine, cooling engine, you usually say. So the cooling of the engine is very essential. We call as the HVAC, air ventilate, heat ventilator air conditioning. So here the air, it will be placed on the front of the vehicle. The air is flowing inside here. You have this radiator. So this radiator is helped to cool the air. So you will get a low radiator hose, and from here it will be supplied and the air will be flowed. So once the air is flowed, and the fresh air will be supplied from the airflow. So it is inside the car, it is outside the car. So you have internal components, like you will drive one after the another. So the lower radiator hose, it will go here, and again it will be formed. So it will be circulated to the heater core. Again, it will be the heat inside the hair, it will take heat here, and it will be going to the thermostat housing, and from here water pump will be there. So this will make to cool. Again, you have some coolant expansion tank. So these are some part of the internal components for cooling the system. And what are the main purpose of the cooling system? So cooling system, it will cool the hardware or the components inside or outside the vehicles. So inside the components are heated up due to the long run, and to make the cool the internal. So we should make the air or get the air from the outside. So the radiator, it will display, it will remove the more heat from the engine coolants, and coolant is the one, it will circulated through the engine where it will be heated up. Under water pumps, it moves the coolant through the engine and the radiator. Thermostat, it will regulate the coolant flow based upon the engine temperature. So that's how the cooling system is playing a major role. And apart from that, the exhaust temperature is one of the major factor where once the fuel is burnt up, like how the dust will be removed from the engine cylinder, electrical cylinder, it will be the one factor. As we know, like once the fuel and air mixed up, the dust will be formed more. To avoid the dust will create a natural impact. So it should have mixed with some of the catalytics or some of the components, make the environment with the less pollutant. So like here we have the exhaust header, and from that we have a catalytic converter, and we have a muffler. So and we have a tile. This will be the end where the complete exhaust will be happen. So these are in between. You have some of the components like to interconnect. To understand about exhaust components, like usually it have some configuration, and internally it have some of the components where it are interconnected with some filters. So with the help of that, the exhaust will be connected. Exhaust, how it will connect the gases from the engine cylinders, and that catalytic connector, it will reduce the harmful emission, and muffler, it will reduce the noise produced by the exhaust gases, and exhaust pipes, it will directly exhaust the gases out of the car. So that's how the major components that will be available for exhausting of the system. And wheels and tires. So wheels, as we know, wheels playing a major role to support the tires, and tires are specifically the rubber. It will covering the traction or the absorption of the stocks. That means the wheels we cannot make to rotate on the other side. To avoid that, we are using the tires to give the traction and support smooth movement of the vehicle. And spares and tires, backup tire for the emergency purpose. Just this will be the tires and the wheels like we use in vehicles. And body and interior, and body interior is nothing but like the inside the car. It have the rear view mirror, roof, and light stick and dashboard and wipe stick, and wheel, steering wheel, and some of the pedals and doors, and seat, brake pedal, center console, gear selector, radio, foot wheel, glow box, door well, door handle, wing mirror, air vent, and windscreen. So this all a part of the interior. There are many other components. The body interior will talks about the body panel, like include door, hood, strut, lid, and roof. Seat, it is designed for comfort and safety. heat, because when we drive sit for a long time, due to that heat can be transferred to the heat, and it requires some cooling conditions as well. So the heats also some of the comfort and luxurious sensor features it will be added. And next is a part of a dashboard. Dashboard is the driver side, where he can observe, or we can see the information specifically about the vehicle speed or fuel level or warnings. And HVAC system, it is a cooling system where it will be controlled the heating and ventilation and air conditions due to the different conditions. And some of the supported for driver or passengers to make the efficiency and the journey safer. Some of the ADAS features. So this is advanced driver assistance, where the car parking or reverse parking or forward parking, how the sensors will help us uh, make the vehicle safe parking during the busy roads, or and even it able to track the uh, proper direction. So like in part of a clumsy codes, how we are able to make our vehicle in a safe journey, and to avoid the harmful impact, and confuse the different directions. So we should have a proper GPS or the sensor information that will help the driver to reach the proper destination. And moreover, safety concerns is another factors with some of the cameras and radars, how it will make the driver to drive in a safe and comfort zone without doing any accident. So how for that the sensors are playing major role. So for the sensors, like example, if you see the the sensor is a long range radar, lidar, and camera. So there are some hardwares. It will be placed on the front and rear on top of the vehicle. So it will be help to capture the information from different views and directions, and make the vehicle journey safer. So, like it is a part of a adaptive cruise control, where it will set maintain the proper speed from the vehicles and land departure warning. It will alert the driver when the car drifts out of the lane, and auto emergency braking. So whenever we are applying the brake during the emergency, so it should be stabilized, balanced, and maintain constant speed. Blind spot detection, so warning that will be observed on the window. And safety features are very important, like it will be a seat belt or the airbags. So to efficiently make the passenger or the driver or inside in all directions. So the airbags and seat belts playing major role. So this will be a part of a safety features. So the safety belt and the airbags towards the top, bottom, foot, and face side. So all the regionals, we need a proper set of safety. So the safety features playing a major role. And the chassis are the outside designs. So how that will be formulated and well equipped with all the braking conditions or the passengers relevant safety conditions, how it will be maintained, and how it will be designed to attract the customers. So the chassis system is how it will be maintained as a part of the vehicle stability with all road conditions. So what are the safety features like airbags? So it will protect the occupant in the collision. During the seat belt, it is secure the occupant during the movement. Crump zones, like area designed to observe the impact during the crashes, like towards the leg, towards the knee, or towards the face. So everywhere the airbags will be provided. And moreover, automatic emergency braking, temperature warning, high desert hill or curb speed warning, adaptive cruise control, or blind spot detection, parking sensor, drone dot, or land departure warning. So during all the pages, the safety enable features will be enabled. So that makes uh, that gives a higher priority for controlling. And the next part will be the child safety locking. So it will prevent the children from the accident during the when door opening. So it should, and next will be part of infotainment and the connectivity. As the driver end, we know that the driver plays the major role when he are able to what direction is going, or the navigation, or part of the direction movement. So everything it will be a part of a driver able to set some music, or make adjust the HVAC conditions or the futures. So anything, it will be a part of driver side or the passenger side, how we are able to operate on the front. So that will be reflected to the right side also. So it will be a part of the infotainment and connectivity. And it's not only media support, it can also control the vehicles, some of the software updates, or some of the entertainments, like the audio or video, so that you to be played, that can be connected easily and efficiently updated. And moreover, like some of the wireless connectivity, like a way that to track of the vehicle connectivity, we it should in different condition for controlling controlling the media and navigation and vehicle setting, and Bluetooth and wireless connectivity, like connecting via the phones and devices and speakers, like we provide the audio for entertainment and alerts. So that will be a major roles will be played for the infotainment and connectivity. So like there are some other components that infotainment will be added. It is a telematics in the car, so vehicle to vehicle communication, so that will be happened towards the ECU, and the ECU will be transmitted the information to the other vehicles. So here, the what are the telematic components in ECU? We can say telematics control ECU, the central hardware responsible for managing the telematic functionality. So it will collect all the information data from the vehicle, and that will send the information where we can able to track the GPS and satellite navigation, and connecting the modules like a 4G or via 5 Bluetooth. That satellite systems can able to track the vehicle, and GPS global positioning system, where we can track the vehicle location and provide the navigation services. And we can locate based upon the sensor and actuators, the speed can be we are able to read the data through the mobile, and engine performance and fuel efficiency, and tire power pressure. So anything can be monitored critical to the vehicle related. It will be a wireless and actuator triggering. So we are able to check the alerts, what are the problems, we are able to track it. So from the telematics way, and cloud and backend data, like whatever the data, like the vehicle speed or the direction or GPS tracking, what is the vehicle it driving last, I mean before 1 hour, or yesterday where it drive and which location it traveled. With the help of the GPS, the vehicles can be tracked very easily, and where that will be updated in the backend cloud. So from that, we are able to track the history of the vehicle, and whatever the latest features of the softwares we need to upgrade, so that can also be updated with the security features. And user interface, like the dashboard, infotainment, or the mobile apps, so web portals that can be managed on the way. And data process and security, so safety and security is whatever the data we are making the uh, updates, so it's very important for traveling. And V2X is specifically the vehicle to everything in a cars, that will be highlighted. Vehicle to V2N is the vehicle to network. Okay, generally it will be connection between the vehicles, and it will be a cloud-based network for data analyst and navigation and other system. And V2V is the vehicle to vehicle. So it will be direct communication between the vehicle to exchange information like speed or location or internet. Vehicle to pedestrian, it is a communication between the vehicle to the people, such as a pedestrian or a cyclist, or safety. And V2 everything, it is a V2X. It is it is an encapsulation of all the V2V and V2N and V2D and V2I, V2P. So it is creating a fully connected ecosystem. And V2D is the V2 device. It is a communication between a near device like sensor, camera, or personal devices. And V2 infrastructure, V2I, it is like interaction with the objects like traffic lights, roads, sensors, lane marking, efficient traffic management, and the network and the cloud. Whatever the data we are consuming, it will be a part of the network or the cloud. So it act as the core hub where it will cover the vehicle to network and connect all the components for data exchange purpose. And we do everything. It is specifically for that is enabled to exchange the information between the devices, and moreover it will be dedicated for short range communication and cellular V2X, and mainly for the safety enhancement where it improve the road safety for to share the critical information such as location or speed or braking status, and to avoid the collisions and pedestrian safety alerts, so and emergency vehicle prioritization and traffic efficiency and environmental benefits. So it will show the traffic flow and reduce the congestion and emission. So and it will give the alerts of the green light or speed or the dynamic traffic management, and it will support for the autonomous driving also, this V2X, and vehicle flown means the automated of the convey or the navigation during the urban and regional rural areas, how it will be established. We need the integrate that are integrated with the 5G network, where it should be provided the high, low and high and bandwidths. It will support edge to edge for enabling of the